Good morning and welcome to Coffee and, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsockеtradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee and panel.
Good morning, Coffee and time here on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan, and we'll say good morning to Mr. Stranger over there. It's Bob Lauder.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
3-week layoff for Bob.
Hey.
You doing all right?
Yes.
Excellent. Sue Tessier McKenzie cannot make it here from the call this week. We hope Sue can join us this week, but filling in admirably, former mayor of the town of Cumberland, Bill Murray, will be here.
I'm the pinch hitter, right?
Yeah, the pinch hitter.
Pinch hitter, okay.
Get it? Opening day baseball season, pinch hitting is Bill Murray.
See, good to see you, and
smart.
thanks for having me.
Okay, you guys are going to talk opening day of baseball.
Yeah, so-
I'll just squat over here in the corner with my Brazilian airmail stamp collection.
Oh,
you don't pay any attention to
Just
me.
throwing you 2 cents, Bob. Go right ahead.
Yeah. No, I think we should build him up and let him, he can go out after this and say, oh yeah, the Red Sox are this and the Yankees are that.
That's right.
Just remember the
Okay,
Yankees.
I'll take
Yankees are going to win. So just if you bear that in mind, then you're better off. So
Wait a minute, you're from...
He's from New York.
I'm from New York.
Oh, he's
no.
He's
Oh
originally
no,
from
I'm a
New York.
Yankee. I grew up with the Yankees. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's the enemy now.
I just told a story earlier that I had two brothers, and if you remember back in those days, the Giants,
Right.
the Dodgers, and the Yankees all were in New York.
I remember that.
And if you don't think there were a few fights in the Murray family,
Who was better?
we battled all the time on it, and I grew up. Fortunately, at that time, the Yankees were winning left and right. And back then, it wasn't the Red Sox; it was the Dodgers and Yankees. That was the big
that was the
rivalry.
big rivalry.
Oh yeah.
I remember when the Dodgers moved out west, it
Oh,
broke my godmother's
oh,
heart.
oh.
Well, she'd grown up in Brooklyn.
Oh, then you see,
yeah.
you know how that works.
And
Because,
when they left town,
Same.
there was crying.
my brother, I thought was going to leave and go out to the coast
going
to
to
follow them.
California.
I think they talked him out of it because he was young. He's only 14 or something when they left.
Now, your predictions aren't really for the Yankees. You must have some realistic hopes for the Red Sox?
No, not at all. No. I have to listen to my family, including my wife, as a Red Sox fans. They're all avid Red Sox fans. So I stick with my Yankees. I know we've had a couple
Well,
of.
I like that. That's
No,
Stick with your team.
I have. Now I've changed where I used to be a big Giant football fan because I grew up there, and I had some. I played a little bit of semi-pro football that was tied in with the Giants, but now I've always been a Patriot fan. Once I got up here, I was a Patriot fan. So.
Now, how, as a Rhode Islander, wait, you're from Massachusetts.
No, but I grew up in
How,
Rhode Island.
how do you
I born
react
in Rhode Island.
to Mayor Murray's analysis
I've
of the
run-
future?
I've run across people like him
Yeah, see,
many a time.
he can't handle it. He
and
can't
that's fine. If he wants to
See,
Okay.
tie his coat, get on the coattails of
See-
the Yankees, that's fine.
see-
Go right ahead.
Bob, what you have to understand is Joe, as my kids have grown up with a losing team, and they've won a couple. Let's see, the Yankees I think are 28, maybe 29, championships. So they're buried in this losing area, and they can't. And the only way they can defend it is what about now? Well,
That's it.
now the
So
Red
Bob,
Sox have been in last place for the last 2 years. What about
Not
now?
this year.
See,
As the way I've explained it to Bill and other Yankee fans, we concede the 20th century to the Yankees.
Okay.
The Red Sox only won 3 World Series in the 20th century, and the Yankees won almost 30. Okay, you win.
Okay.
It's the 21st century now. We're winning, the Red Sox, against the Yankees.
How many?
5-1.
Oh,
wow.
So there you go.
Wow.
But we're still ahead.
Do you know how long it's going to take for them to catch the record of the Yankees?
We're not trying to catch.
Well,
Sometime around 60, 27,
exactly.
somewhere in there.
I'll be looking down and laughing when I see that happen.
I'll be looking down. I won't have any idea what's going on.
Yeah, well, you will.
Maybe you'll
But-
be guiding me. and
But
giving me
Joe has had to carry this. Do you know how long he's had to carry this
this
kind
burden.
of burden of and I have to give him and my kids credit for
It's tough
you
being a
know,
Red Sox
for,
fan.
Yeah, for fight. It's not easy to be a Red Sox fan when you keep losing.
I know.
And now they like going into this year.
And being in
they
last
believe
place,
now.
it's
Is
a
it
killer.
true? Is true as Devers is going to be traded? I heard.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, no, I just saw it.
Really?
That they're
that's
trying
a
to work
rumor.
something out because he's not a happy camper. Top
know.
hitter on the club, and he's not happy.
Oh, too bad.
But they
Oh,
get
so
paid
We'll see
a
if
lot
Bregman
of money.
becomes the top hitter.
Those
on
guys
the-
get
on the
paid a
team.
lot of money.
Oh,
Yes,
my
they
God!
do.
You know, are you kidding? This is this is. I go again. I go back to the Yankees' heydays, and when you look at it and see what they were getting paid, and that's back with Mickey Mantle, and Eddie Lopez, Vic Raschi, and all that crew. Yogi Berra, everybody knows that name, and Yogi Berra was a character. I mean, they were making peanuts. They were making good money at that time, but peanuts compared to what's happening now. Now you have a player that gets a hangnail and he sits on the he sits it out for about 2 months.
And Joe DiMaggio made $100,000 a year
Well,
in the 40s.
that
And
doesn't surprise- that's
can
what I'm
Can
saying.
you imagine what people
And he got
thought
to marry
then?
Marilyn
Yeah.
Monroe.
And he had Marilyn Monroe. It's just,
that's true.
all right. Note came in, Bill, 766-1240 if you want to call him in. Yankees, the loss of Stanton,
Right?
Giancarlo Stanton, Sosa?
No, Soto.
Soto, okay. And Cole.
Yeah.
Maybe just too much to overcome.
I
for the
said-
Yankees
didn't
this
I say
year.
that earlier?
Yeah.
Well,
so
I
it's
think-
go Red Sox.
No, I think. Well, I'm not going to argue. Although I don't think the
That's tough to
Red Sox
overcome.
have the pitching. Maybe the two new
I think
pitchers.
they do. So
Well, they've been getting bombed down in the spring training.
it doesn't
Oh,
matter.
okay.
Yeah,
Now,
All
I
right.
hope
spring
you're back
training
in
games do not
October
launch.
so we can figure out where we stand
Well,
on this.
let me say this: let me predict, if the Red Sox are losing, I will not get an invite on this show. You know that,
Oh.
but I hope
Stay
you
away
could
till
defend and say, when are we going to bring Bill Murray back?
Darn
'Cause
right.
I just
As soon
know
as the Red Sox win the World Series.
I know. I benched Joe one time, and he wouldn't talk to me, and I benched him because I wanted to give him a little, a goose to. I want to see you hit better, and he held it against me for years.
Years.
Oh yeah. I'm telling you things that are outside the normal. But
Whoa.
yeah.
All right. Let's get away from baseball.
See how he changed the
We got
subject.
to move on to other things. Things are going on in the state. So the governor is in I wouldn't say hot water, but he's got his opposition because he wants to give pay raises to his 11 members of his cabinet. And most people are saying, what? We're with everything being cut and no more and less money coming in, how can you give out pay raises? This is not a good idea.
What are their present salaries and how much is the raise going to be?
I don't know their present salaries, and
It's not gigantic.
and it doesn't
It's,
say what the raises are going to be. House Speaker Joe Shikarchi said with a projected $250 million state budget deficit and potential federal funding cuts, not a good time for the raises. Jessica De La Cruz, she's the Senate Minority Leader, says Rhode Islanders are struggling with high costs. The governor's proposal is irresponsible, but McKee comes back, says the response is that the wage increases are about remaining competitive with other states.
And that's, I've actually talked to the governor. He didn't call me and see if they should give
Your
him
opinion.
raises, but we were talking about it. And being from the business world, I fully understand the timing is terrible.
Yeah.
But to get good people in here, and that's the biggest problem in municipalities. I had it in Cumberland, is that we were in the bottom third. In fact, I met with on a business thing with the mayor of Woonsocket yesterday, who's doing a great job, in my opinion. Great guy, and you know what? We've all had the problem where we pay so little that you have people coming in that you can't get the best. And that's what I think the governor is trying to get across. Is the timing bad? Absolutely. But to bring good people in
Or keep them.
keep them, that's a good point, because, again, you lose a person and you now take 20 steps backwards. So that, again, the timing's bad. The bad thing about it with the governor is the speaker is not on board with this. and usually they walk pretty hand in hand on stuff. So that could be tough. But he's just trying to. He realizes it also as a businessman, and he knows what he and I went through because I followed him in Cumberland. Is that we had that biggest problem of. I can remember trying to hire a public works director when I came in, and he had a temporary one in because of the salary level, and say the salary level was, I'm just using a figure, 70,000. Everybody came in wanted 125,000. Wow. We couldn't do it in Cumberland.
Can't match it.
So that's what in government. That's what you face, and unfortunately, that's what Rhode Island faces. Time and time again, is that we're just not competitive. He's not competitive with Massachusetts, Connecticut. I don't know about the northern, but those are the
Just
key
the nearby ones,
key
yeah.
places. Yeah.
Now, if
What
the
do you think,
Speaker of the House is not in favor of it,
Right.
does that pretty much mean that even if the legislation is proposed, it's going to die? It's not going to come to the floor of the House?
It's a very close to it because the Speaker, in the end result, is the Speaker puts a budget together. Now he could veto the whole thing if he's not unhappy with it, but I doubt that he would. I'm not talking for him because there's other items he wants. But they did that last year. They didn't approve his budget and changed some things, and so the Speaker really has the final word on it. That's why if I was a betting man, I'd say that there will be no raises, or maybe limited to what he wants.
I wonder, are these cabinet members being recruited by other states? Say, look,
I don't know that,
another 25,
but I don't know that. But what I will throw out is that are they in the top? And I'm not speaking of one or others. Are they in the top? In other words, you get recruited because you're valuable.
Yep, right.
But if they're working at X amount of dollars in Rhode Island, why would Connecticut? Unless Connecticut finds XYZ who's very good. So I'm not sure whether they're in the higher caliber because of this. And I'm not demeaning, believe me, the cabinet. There's some good people. I know a few of them. They're very good.
Okay.
I would suppose also that it's not a question of being recruited by other states so much as these people going and applying in other states and offering their services. So it's not recruiting, it's going out and trying to find a better job.
Okay, I know he wants to stay competitive with the other states, but I just don't know if is there any money for it. So, all right, well, we'll have to see how that goes. And they had a big rally there yesterday at the State House. We had both sides of the issue. We had the people that don't want the assault weapons ban, and we have the people that are for gun control, battling it out.
Now, if I understood
figuratively,
understood correctly, this had to deal with ghost guns and having serial numbers imprinted on the ghost guns and having the people who acquire them have to go through the same process of vetting that they'd have to go through if they went into a local gun shop and bought it over the counter.
Close. This and that's true that they want that to happen. But this is just the governor has his Rhode Island assault weapons ban coming up. He wants like all of them, not just the ghost guns. So you had the gun rights advocates say the bill goes too far and it's unconstitutional. And then there's the other side, groups like Moms Demand Action and the Rhode Island Coalition Against Gun Violence. They're in support of the legislation, not just specifically the ghost guns, basically all assault guns.
How do they define assault weapons?
Well, they break it. It's basically every gun.
That's why they're arguing,
It goes
because
too far. It comes
it's
down
too
to
far.
pistols,
Yep.
Single shotgun rifles. It's basically everything.
You might have to, if you wanted to protect yourself with this ban on it, you're going to have a problem. There's people out there that want to protect themselves.
And it puts guys like Bullseye Shooting Supply, we'll put them out of business.
Yeah.
They'll just have to close.
Well, I've dealt with them, and I think they're a fantastic store.
Well, they are.
Yeah.
I mean, they sell out. Well, maybe they don't go out of business, but they'd have to stop selling guns.
Right.
They can sell the other stuff, I guess.
Well, they're going to be hurt. I mean,
Yeah.
bottom line, they're going to get hurt.
If it goes through,
But this
so.
is an issue that comes up every year.
Right.
And you
Gun
got both
control.
sides. Look at these. We have the Beagle Club in Cumberland,
All right.
which is a huge membership. Great people. I've known them many of them for a long time, and and this is all recreation. But what people don't understand is that they do a lot of training of young children
How to shoot.
how to
And
shoot.
how to be safe.
So the safeness that they're doing eventually will help. It's, you're not going to, in my opinion, you're not going to stop somebody to get a gun. There's no question. I don't care what laws you put in. You're not going to stop them.
I'm surprised that the definition of assault weapons is that all-encompassing. I would have thought it was more along the lines of, excuse me, you can't have an AK-47.
Like a
or
machine
something
gun.
like
Well,
that.
that's already
Yeah,
banned.
Yeah.
And so they call it an assault ban, but when you read the actual bill or the actual act, it's actually all guns. So, all right, we're gonna take a break here on the Coffee and program, and more coming your way. You can call in comments or questions at 766-1240.
Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
Hey, it's Lamar from the Bob and Sherry Show. Everyone knows that I love food, but I also realize that I need to be healthy. And I have found that PhD Weight Loss is able to help me with both. I'm getting healthy and without needle sticks, medications, or gimmicks. And I'm not walking around hungry. In a little over 2 months, I've lost over 40 pounds. I feel great. The PhD Weight Loss Program is working for me, and it can work for you too. Right now, PhD is offering the first 11 callers 2 free weeks added to their weight loss program. Plus, when you fully commit, you'll get a 15% discount, receive a free weight loss and energy supplement bundle, and your program will be backed by the PhD Weight Loss, Get Results, or Get Your Money Back guarantee. So don't wait. Call now and mention Lamar for my 2 weeks free with my program. Call 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or go to myphdweightloss.com.
The Coffee and panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
ON, AM, and FM.
Have you heard of Scott McGee with RE/MAX Properties? He's been selling real estate in Rhode Island and Massachusetts for the last 17 years, and you can see that he loves what he does. Scott, as well as his team, take pride in what they call the fair and honest team. No gimmicks. And no, they're not buying your house if it doesn't sell, etc. Just fair and honest real estate. Scott personally works with tons of sellers and buyers and specializes in residential properties as well as commercial, and he's always very fair and offers super competitive rates. Remember, this is probably the biggest move in dollars that you will ever spend or receive. You want to go with a trusted and experienced agent. Scott is fair, honest, and modest, always puts the clients first. And he also dealt with literally almost any situation. You really need to look at your real estate needs as a business. You want to pay and get the right money now so that you're not paying for it later. Trust me. So why not give Scott McGee a call at 401-639-2906. That's 401-639-2906.
This portion of the Coffee and program brought to you by the Blackstone Valley Call-In Times.
You've heard it before. The world is getting smaller. Places you had to travel to years ago now seem right next door. It's no surprise, then, that all the communities of the Blackstone Valley have so much in common these days that we share common interests. Keeping up with this trend, the Blackstone Valley's 2 daily newspapers, The Call and The Times, have joined forces to cover the entire valley in one convenient newspaper. The Blackstone Valley's Call and Times, a paper for the entire valley. At your local store, honor box, or home delivery, 767-8522.
And it's Coffee In on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan here with attorney Bob Lauder and former mayor of the town of Cumberland. That would be Bill Murray. I know you don't do criminal law, Bob, and you'd probably be happy about this because it's just a bizarre story, and it's out of Newport where a man was stabbed Wednesday night in a house in Newport. The victim was taken to Rhode Island Hospital. No update on his condition. But what's odd is Channel 12 is reporting that a man in 2022, so 3 years ago, was stabbed to death in the exact same house.
Whoa.
What are the odds of that happening, huh?
I don't think I'd want to be the lieutenant.
I don't know.
No.
They don't give us the address of the house in the Newport. I think it's safe to say it's not one of the mansions.
For that, no, for that reason too.
Maybe why? That's why. It's like, well, gee,
I don't
who
think
are the
they-
tenants
I
and
don't
what's
think
going
they
on
put
there?
that into a realty ad when they're trying to sell the house the next time.
Maybe that's why if the house is selling for $40,000, maybe they'll have to say, well, this is why. It's had a bit of a history. So it's just an incredibly bizarre story. And then we had a shooting in Pawtucket on Broad Street.
What else is new?
Well, this took place in a parking lot. Doesn't say parking lot of where. Shortly before 8 p.m., victim was taken to the hospital for treatment, non-life-threatening injuries. No other information released on a suspect. No word on what led to the shooting as well. So, and they didn't announce it. Okay, this is day number 1, but they have started to tear down McCoy Stadium.
Yes, they
I
have.
saw that in the paper.
And I wanted to go.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't find out about it until
Did you see what-
they were done for the day. I'm like, I missed it. So-
Did you see what they did? They took a bunch of the seats and brought them over to East Providence for the baseball field.
Well,
good.
they bought
Yeah.
those.
Did they buy it? Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't hear that
They
part.
they had an auction.
Yep. Okay. Yes, I
the
remember
ci- the
that.
city of- and East
Pawtucket.
Providence.
Yeah. Oh, East Providence bought them.
Yeah, they were the high bid. I think they bought 2 rows actually.
Yeah. I just heard that they brought seats
Yeah.
over, which is great.
And they're gonna put
Yeah.
them at their baseball.
Yeah. And they have a beautiful facility over
Yeah.
there.
Did you pick up any memorabilia when they were having that
No,
auction?
because when I looked at what was up for auction, nothing said either Pawtucket Red Sox or a McCoy Stadium on it. And then people asked, well, did you try to get seats? And I would have loved to have gotten a couple of seats, but they didn't sell them by the 2s.
By the row.
You had to buy
By
a
the
row.
row, I
said,
know
I
that,
haven't
yeah.
got room for 12 seats.
Yeah.
I couldn't put it anywhere.
In your
so
backyard, man, for the next cookout and barbecue, you could have invited all of us.
have everybody just sit in a row.
Hey,
That's,
you have
that's
gone
a
to
good point.
It wouldn't-
barbecue
it
with
wouldn't-
him and
Well, that's
said-
why he was
It wouldn't
afraid to
have
do
worked.
that, because he didn't have to spend money and invite us over for a cookout. And Joe was
And they went for decent money, by the
Joe's
way.
tight, by the way. You gotta know him.
Now I understand.
Yeah.
Those rows went for at least over $500.
Did they? I didn't follow it. I didn't.
The Pawtucket raised some decent money on that whole auction that they had. So
I-
maybe I can get down there today, later this afternoon, and
No.
see them knocking.
Well, it's
stuff
pretty.
down.
It's down from the pictures I saw.
All of it,
But I was.
even the tower.
I don't know whether it was only a quick picture, and it looked like.
From what I saw, it looked like they were starting on the outfield.
Yeah.
And then moving in. So maybe the actual stadium where the seats are apart, hasn't been touched yet.
Well, I was disappointed that my good friend Mayor Grebian
Yeah.
was supposed to grab me something, not illegal or anything on his part, but it never happened. Unless he's going to surprise me for my birthday, I'm not sure.
Now, what's the tower you were talking about?
That's where you walked in.
Yeah, walked in.
For and that's where you showed
The
your
entrance,
tickets.
the en- the
it was
entrance.
just called an entrance tower, and they always made it when they used their logo because it was built in 1999 when it was added on, and so that was the. It's like Cinderella's castle. That's how you can mark the Magic Kingdom. The tower is the entrance to McCoy, so it was kind of the eye-catching thing.
Well, Bobby, you and I kind of goofed up because we should have got together and purchased the booth that made Joe Callahan very famous up in the press box.
Darn, I didn't know that part was up.
We could have done that. I just thought of it now. We're talking, and we could have done that.
It's about to come down. It's still
and
there.
presented him
The booth.
with this booth. That,
When I worked there,
we goofed up on that one.
Oh, what a great idea.
when I worked there, I had the absolute best seat
See?
in the house.
Yeah.
Directly behind home plate. Yeah, up in the press box. The seats were perfect. The only thing that was wrong with it is that in April and May,
Cold.
the person to the next to me was a cameraman. Mm-hmm. He had to open his window to get the good shot. It was so
gee.
cold.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. But once the summertime came, it was great.
That's New
But
England.
I had to put up for 2 months, wearing a sweatshirt and a jacket because 40-degree weather is brutal when the windows are open.
Well, I sat one time.
Oh, the wind came straight in in the spring.
When my son was playing for Assumption, he was down south and came back all excited. I went up to his first game in April.
Yeah.
And sat there with the snow coming down.
Oh, yeah.
Baseball game. And they have metal bats, by the way.
And they got to keep playing. So.
Yep. You guys are dedicated.
Well, you got to. So we had a train derailment.
What?
In Central Falls. Yeah. A freight train derailed Tuesday afternoon in CF. They're not sure why. Channel 10 reports the Providence Worcester Railroad said 5 cars went off the tracks. Now, 4 of them were empty. Okay, good. 1 was loaded just with scrap metal. So no hazardous materials or anything like that were involved. We didn't have to get the hazmat teams to come down and do that. And there were no injuries reported.
Good.
But why did 5 cars go off, not the engine? Was there something on the track? But how could just 5 cars in the middle go off the tracks?
That was my biggest fear.
I don't know. That's the investigation going on.
Well, that was my biggest fear in Cumberland. And we've had many. In fact, we had a lot of exercises. If something
What
like that happened
Yeah.
with hazardous material,
Yeah.
we had a great one that was put together. One of the chief architects was my chief of staff, George Stansfield. And our biggest fear is if you look at the valley in Cumberland, homes are right on top of those
On the
tracks.
tracks. Yeah.
And here's the biggest problem. They do not have to tell you what's in those cars. So we have no idea what's in those cars, and they'll park.
Until there's an issue.
They'll park the freight cars there right near
Behind a house?
the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
We might have 20 every night because that's the loading area, Central Falls and Cumberland. And we've had more fights and whatnot. Even went up to when Governor Raimondo was, and we met. And the railroads will not budge. They will not tell you what's in there, and by law they don't have to.
Not even to the extent of putting a hazmat sign on the car?
I don't remember that. I know that we couldn't find out. Let's put it that way, or couldn't control and say you can't park those hazardous cars in these areas that we were trying to designate because of the houses around. When I literally tell you, if you go down High Street towards the town hall in Cumberland, you will see how the houses are right on the bank of where these cars are parked.
Now, if you had a derailment, how does your response team go out there? What do they do?
Well, we, as I said, we had exercises to plan this. One of it was, this particular big exercise was on Martin Street. And we had the federal, we had the state, and then local have an exercise if something happened. So our people were trained how to do it, where to go, what to do. So we were well trained, I have to say that.
Now, is that part of the fire department? Or?
Well, they're a big part of it, sure. And as you know, in Cumberland, the fire department is not part of the town. But we worked on the safety end of it with our fire department, Cumberland Fire, and of course the emergency management. And the mayor, like in my case, I was the head of the safety for, the mayor is always the head of the safety.
Now, I'm not familiar with Cumberland.
Right.
Who operates the fire department?
It's a standalone. They do their own, they collect their own taxes. They do, this has been always an argument. In fact, back when I was in the council and the current governor was the mayor, we finally changed it because there were 5 districts, and what happened was that each district was a standalone. Like as an example, in Cumberland Hill, they had at the time, I don't know, they had 5 or 7 people with full medical for the rest of their life. So they used to vote very, very quietly.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. So we forced the merger. Because I was on it, Art Lambie, Schmidt was on it, and we forced a merger through Dan McKee. He spearheaded the whole thing, but it still was not part of the town. They wanted to be part of the town, and I fought that because I said, well, if they're part of the town, then I want to be the manager. They didn't want to have that happen. I said, well, why would I take on a fire department where I have no control? They wanted it for the tax purposes.
Now, the firefighters who are in these different
Right.
departments, are they full-time or are they volunteer?
No, they're
or-
full-time. They used to. It started as, most of those districts started, not all of them started as part-time. And then as Cumberland grew, because, we have 36,000 residents in Cumberland now. It's not a small,
In a much larger area,
yeah.
square foot.
Yeah, so there's 5 districts. They still stand alone. There were a lot of problems, a lot of,
Isn't it 4 now? I thought Ashton closed.
no, Ashton is still open.
Still there? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. You mean right on Mendon Road?
Yes.
No, that's still open.
It is. Okay. We do got
They want to close, excuse me.
They do. Okay. Got to take a break here on the Coffee and program. More coming your way. And this portion of Coffee Hand's been sponsored by the Blackstone Valley Call-in Times.
Whether you own a restaurant or an auto repair shop, you need as many customers as you can get. Every business does. Don't limit yourself to one newspaper. Get the power of 2 daily newspapers for the price of 1. The Blackstone Valley's Call and Times deliver customers from all over the valley with just one phone call. Phone 767-8500 for twice the effectiveness over twice the area. The Call and the Times. Sunny skies today with a high of 51 degrees and a breeze from the west. Tonight, mostly clear skies, overnight low of 33. Friday's weather, mostly sunny with a high of 55 and a breeze from the west. Friday night, clouds come in, 60% chance of showers, mostly cloudy skies overnight with an overnight low of 40. Saturday, 60% chance of showers likely, mainly in the morning, mostly cloudy all day, high of 49. Saturday night, 50% chance of continued showers. Sunday, a 40% chance of showers and mostly cloudy skies, 45 for a high. 70% chance of showers overnight Sunday night. Monday, a 60% chance of showers continuing, mostly cloudy and 63. Tuesday, mostly sunny and 50, and Wednesday, partly sunny and 46.
Outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street, we do have sunny skies and 36 degrees. The weather report brought to you by Positive Coaching Alliance. Questions about youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit organization, develops better athletes and better people through youth and high school sports. Info at positivecoach.org.
Clean off all the salt and dirt that's attacking your car this winter. Go to Executive Auto Wash in Woonsocket. They have a special going on right now. Sign up for any one of their monthly unlimited washes, and the first month is only $10. This is for new members only. The monthly special includes your choice of the Platinum, the Works, the Deluxe, or the Express car washes. Monthly unlimited washes at Executive Auto Wash means washing your car as many times as you want or need per month. And you can cancel anytime with no cancellation fee. And as part of the monthly unlimited car washes, you can vacuum your car for free. Clean off that car today at Executive Auto Wash, located at the intersection of Privilege, Winter, and Pond Streets right here in Woonsocket. Coming up tomorrow night, March 28th at Chan's, it's Jeff Pitchell and the Texas Flood. From 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, they'll be in the Four Seasons Dining Room. Jeff always lets the good times roll, 25 in advance and 30 at the door at Chan's. Then on Saturday night, it's March 29th, and it's Johnny Hoy and the Bluefish. Johnny Hoy and the Bluefish, well, they're an island dance party band with Martha's Vineyard Best Blues Band as their special honors. And they've come over especially for you. Saturday night at Chan's, 25 in advance, 30 at the door. Chan's, 267 Main Street in Woonsocket. The best jazz and blues around, and they got great food too. Chan's.
Coffee In on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here, along with former mayor of the town of Cumberland, Bill Murray, and Bob Lauders here. And Bob, time for our first message from your law office.
Thank you. Good morning. This is Attorney Bob Lauder. I'd like to travel back into the distant past, about 150 years ago, to discuss a case which addresses the emotionally intoxicating concept of treasure trove. A treasure trove is a phrase frequently equated to the discovery of an asset where the identity of the original owner is unknown. The case I'd like to talk with you about this morning is Durfee versus Jones and was decided on July 21st in 1877. In this case, Durfee bought an old safe and offered to sell it to Jones. Jones refused to purchase the safe, but Durfee left it with Jones and so that he could offer it to sale to any willing party for $10, and in the meantime, Durfee could use the safe to keep his books and records in. While using the safe, Jones discovered that between the inner and outer lining of the safe, there was some other person who had stuffed a wad of money. Durfee learned of the discovery and demanded the return of the money, and he later demanded the return of the safe in its same condition as when he left it with Jones. Jones returned the safe, but kept the money, and Durfee sued Jones for the money as well. Durfee did not claim that he was the original owner of the money, but since he had purchased the safe, he was more entitled to the money than was Jones, who merely found it in the lining of the safe. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island ruled in favor of Jones, the finder. The court found that Durfee never had any possession of the money, except unwittingly by having possession of the safe, and such discovery does not confer the right to the latterly discovered money. The plaintiff also claimed that he was a wrongful act for Jones to examine the lining of the safe, whereby he discovered the money. The court disagreed on that as well. The court wrote that the safe was left with Jones for sale. Jones had the implied permission to inspect it to see if it was a fit depository, and upon finding of the money was in accordance with this implied permission. If you think my office may be of assistance to you in legal matters, please call me for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder, and my telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer: the Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
Wow, I agree with the court, Bob.
Have you ever found money that way?
Well, no, but
Oh,
but
rats.
once Durfee gave the safe to Jones,
Right.
now it's a gift.
Well, no, it wasn't a gift. He said, I'm leaving it with you so that Jones could sell it to some third party. But
he
in the
never did.
meantime, you could use it
Yeah.
to store your books.
But it's right, but it's for whatever Jones wants to use it for. So
Right.
the money belongs to him.
Well,
That's just the
that's
way
what the court
I
said.
agree with the court on that one.
Good.
So Bob, how about this? And you got to file. You got to follow it this time. This is the Karen Reed trial, which starts next week.
Please.
Have you ever heard of this? This is incredible. There's a new twist. And there's always a new twist. But there's a new twist with the upcoming murder trial of Karen Reed. Her defense team has added a juror who served in the first trial to be part of her defense in the second trial. All right.
I don't know what.
Wow.
Well,
That's a new one. That's a new
certainly-
one.
I don't think that's illegal. I think
It's
that
not
after-
illegal. It's perfectly fine.
That the defense team can bring this individual in. I would imagine the only reason they're there is to probably prompt the defense team to hone in on the elements that the first jury considered when it came to its inconclusive verdict and said they couldn't agree on it. So if this person can say, okay, one of the things we really thought about during the the conversations in the jury room was this particular element of evidence which the prosecution wasn't able to establish, then that gives the defense an opportunity to hone in on trying to discredit that particular piece of evidence if the prosecution brings it back again.
It's a smart move on the
It's an
defense.
incredibly smart move.
Yeah.
Now the court records show that this juror, who is also an attorney Victoria George, is now part of the Yannetti criminal defense law firm. David Yannetti is Reed's lead attorney and has chosen George to serve on Reed's defense team. Now this juror was an alternate juror in the first trial and was not part of the jury deliberations, but she was there to witness the entire.
So she has a lot
case.
of background that can help the
But she doesn't
defense.
because she's an alternate. She doesn't go into the jury room for
No. What happens
discuss
is
things, okay?
the court impanels usually for a jury of 12. They impanel 14 or 15 individuals.
Right.
And then when it gets time to have the actual deliberation, the court removes those who are extra and leaves 12 who go in. I'm surprised that she was allowed to be on the jury at all. The only
first time around,
the only
yeah.
time I was ever called for jury duty and considered was a criminal case down in Providence a number of years back. And of course, when you have the voir dire and you have to tell who you are, and
What
I
you
said
do.
that I was an attorney, I was eliminated from the jury entirely. I didn't become an alternate. I was just told I couldn't serve on this jury.
Okay.
So I'm surprised that she was able to.
They do little things different, I guess, in Massachusetts.
You know what that I wonder with all this going on, who is paying these defense attorneys?
She had they are getting some money because I know because I live in the town she's from.
Yeah, okay.
She had to sell her house in Mansfield, Mass, and she sold it for about $800,000.
Oh, okay.
So they're getting some from that.
That's
and,
just-
and there's a whole Karen Reed Defense Fund thing
The people
that
donate?
that people can donate to. So that's how they're getting paid.
It's like a soap opera.
Oh, it is, and there's more.
More?
The judge in the trial, who was the judge in the first trial, the judge in the upcoming Carrie murder trial is extending the buffer zone outside of the Dedham's Norfolk Superior Court. Judge Beverly Canone ordered a 200-foot buffer zone to remain in place and be extended to include the area bounded by Bates Court, Bulliard Street, Ames Street, and Court Street. That's all in Dedham. The Canone's ruling states that no one may demonstrate within the area during the trial. Because what I've been hearing or heard was the jurors, when they were deliberating, could hear the people outside.
I heard that.
Chanting and doing whatever they're doing, which could have influence on the jury. So they got to push them away. And I mentioned this yesterday because I was considered to be on a jury and went to Dedham Superior Court. The building. You ever been there, Bob?
No.
Okay, the building's like more than 100 years old.
I'm sure.
It's built 18 something, and the jurors are down in the dungeon. You're down in the basement of this thing.
Oh wow!
It's very dank and dark and.
But they could hear everything outside.
But they could hear everything outside because they're standing right outside the courtroom. So, good that they're moving things out, and so it all starts next. Ironically, starts on April Fool's Day.
So it's like a soap opera.
It is because the defense kept going back.
Yep.
We want everything thrown out. The whole thing. We want the whole thing dismissed.
Right.
It has never worked, and the judge keeps saying no, no, no. I think they're out of it, and both sides wanted to move it out another couple of months. Can we start it like July?
To get more time.
They both wanted more time. The judge then both said no to both of that. So no, we're starting April 1st, and that's that. Does that mean jury selection starts April 1st, Bob? Or does jury selection take place now so that the trial can actually start on April 1st? How does that work?
Jury selection usually starts at the beginning of the trial itself.
Okay, so April 1st we'll
right.
start picking jurors.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, there isn't one person in Massachusetts of juror age that does not know about this case. How do you get an impartial jury? This is so tough.
You come over to that lone person in Woonsocket who has no real connection with the
that's
case.
That's why I said Massachusetts.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but they, all the females in my family, I'm amazed. They've been following it. Like my daughter-in-law, she's from Massachusetts. One of my other daughters, they've been following it. Like,
And where do they stand? Do they have an opinion?
yeah, they think
Everybody does.
she's innocent to the T. That's what
I just don't know how you're going to find an impartial jury.
I'm wondering, and I haven't followed it one bit. I keep seeing bits and pieces, but what about that dog? The dog and the dog.
That's right. That's huge.
That's a huge, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I've picked
Is
up
a
on.
dog involved in the
Yes,
case?
yes.
Dog bites on the body.
On the body.
Oh.
Don't
all
match
right.
the dog.
See, that if I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
they claim that this death happened in the house, and
Yes,
they brought
and
the
they drug it
and they
back
brought the body out, and they're
Yeah.
trying to blame her for hitting him.
Yeah.
That's what they're
That's
claiming.
basically it. So.
right.
Where does the dog come in?
the dog is in the house?
Because
And
he's got bite marks and claw marks on his
they
body.
think there was a fight.
Yeah.
in
But
the house.
if there's a dog in the house
Yeah.
and they've
I guess
examined the dog
I guess
and
the bite marks do match. Maybe I had that backwards.
Oh, all right.
No, they do match.
Okay.
That's what I
Okay.
remember.
And he didn't have these claw marks or dog bite marks the day before.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they all went out drinking.
Yeah.
that
There's a
night.
big fight in the house, that's for sure.
If you have time, follow it this time because it's fascinating. this case. All right, Bob. I know Bob's going to get to court, so we're going to do one more message from Bob Lauder, and then he can be on his way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning. This is Attorney Bob Lauder. After that trek through the path of history that we explored in my previous commercial, I'd like to return to the tried and true nature of commercials that I've read to you over the years, and that is the benefits of serious estate planning. I'm sure you heard the commercials concerning making a valid last will and testament, and how that will provide for the distribution of your assets after your death, including that famous clock, Diana. This morning, I'd like to extend that suggestion to the creation of a living trust. A living trust is a document which, once signed, goes into effect immediately, as opposed to a last will and testament, which goes into effect only upon your death. There are several reasons why individuals, in addition to creating a last will and testament, should also create and sign a living trust. And those reasons are the fact that the assets titled to one's living trust at the time of one's death do not have to pass through administration by the probate court. and are therefore protected from those individuals who are curious about bequests, and also provide the assets titled to the trust to be exempt from any claims filed against the creditors by one's estate after one's death. Most living trusts are revocable, although there are a limited number of reasons why one might consider the creation of irrevocable living trust, and that creation should be discussed in detail with an attorney. Most living trusts provide to the settlers, that is the person who is creating the living trust, the right to serve as the trustee and to manage the assets of the trust, to sell or exchange the property title to the trust, so long as the settlers or the trustee use the assets of the trust in the manner that the settlers desire. And that's usually complete freedom. However, following the death or incapacity of the original settler, the trust will usually provide for the assets to be immediately available to the successor trustee, to administer in accordance with the provisions of the trust without the need of probate administration. Creation and execution of a valid revocable living trust is a valuable instrument in many estate plans. If you think my office may be of service to you in legal matters, please contact me. My name is Bob Lauder, and my telephone number is 762-4550. And the famous disclaimer: the Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. Have a great week.
Thank you. And I'm leaving you two guys to fight it out over the Red Sox and the Yankees.
Well,
It's go Sox, right, Bob?
I'm disappointed that you're leaving me. Where's my? I don't have a support.
Well,
Oh, you don't need support. You could take this guy on anytime.
All right. Well, I'll give you a call if there's problems that I have to have you step in the next
Great.
time. Okay.
Thank you.
All
It's
right.
great to see you.
Good to see you, Bob.
All right, more Coffee Hands coming up.
Have
Stay
a good
tuned.
one.
At
Be
Dean
safe.
Bank, their focus is on helping their customers achieve financial success. Dean Bank is a full-service bank, so they're able to deliver solutions that solve financial problems of all shapes and sizes. And as your neighbor, it's their mission to make a positive impact within the communities where they live and work. Dean Bank offers scholarships to students from participating schools, sponsor local charitable organizations, and more. Visit one of their local Blackstone Valley branches in Bellingham and Blackstone today, or find us online at deanbank.com. Dean Bank. It's my bank.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse and hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so far. I'm almost there.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it. Safe and sound.
I know.
Well, did you know I was with USPS the whole time?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Keep your business in the know with the USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business.
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, t-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Here's what's coming up next. Greatest Hits USA.
Hey, this is Chuck Matthews on Greatest Hits USA. And coming up this weekend, we're going to answer the following questions. What book did George Harrison give to a friend? Who took a bath in Dom Perignon? And who had the #1 record this week in 1974? Find out. Turn it up this weekend right here.
Greatest Hits USA. You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
It is Coffee In here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callan here with former mayor of the town of Cumberland, Bill Murray. Bob Lauder had to take leave because he had to get over to court and things like that. But Bob should be with us next week as well. And so President Trump signed an executive order yesterday, Bill, and it basically says you got to show an ID to vote. Now, you already do this in Rhode Island.
Right.
In Mass, we do not.
Oh, you don't?
Which has always bothered me. You just walk up and just give your name and your address, and they get out their iPad, and they click it off.
Yep.
Okay, you have voted. I go, but I could say I'm anybody.
It's because the liberals in Massachusetts.
I know, but now with this act, it looks like I'll have to start showing something, and I'll actually be happy about that.
It should be. I think we should have it across the board. I mean,
well, that's what he's making it.
Yeah, exactly. I saw that
for federal races.
Well, he has said this.
Yeah.
He, as part of his campaign, this was a big issue, obviously, because he still feels he got screwed in the 2020. So this is but forgetting whether he should or he shouldn't, I think it's a good rule.
So the Secretary of State of the state of Washington, Steve Hobbs, he's not happy with the executive order because it says it's going to affect voting in Washington State on federal races. Now, according to the order, votes need to be received by Election Day. Mm-hmm. I like that idea, too.
I agree. Fully.
Yep. And he says proof of citizenship means having a passport or a real ID driver's license. Many Washingtonians don't have those documents. Well, then you don't vote.
That's exactly.
And that's just the way it is. Go get it.
Well, I was just going to say, how easy is it to get a ID? If you're legal.
Yeah.
You know,
it's fine.
And what they're doing is protecting
the illegals.
The illegals, because you know how strong it is out on the West Coast.
Oh yeah,
yep,
it's big, and and you know, Seattle's a very big.
It's awful.
Out there.
Yeah.
Kohl's stores are closing some locations. The retail chain originally made the announcement in January that 27 stores would close in April.
Mm-hmm.
Then CEO, I guess they got a new one. Then CEO Tom Kingsbury said, "We always take these decisions very seriously. 3 locations in California, Massachusetts, and Virginia have already closed. I don't know where the one in Massachusetts one that closed. This Saturday marks the final day of business for the other 24 stores. So the ones
aren't we hearing this?
Okay.
Unfortunately, aren't we hearing this a lot on these retail stores?
They are either clothing stores or they're just going out of business.
That's right.
Forever 21. Yeah. Joanne Fabrics.
Joanne's, which is a big one.
Yeah, we're closing our doors.
They're just not. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop in Massachusetts on Macy's.
I thought Macy's and JCPenney.
Yep.
I'm surprised that they're still open.
Macy's is just holding on by the, and then if you look at the Providence Mall, I mean they've lost so many stores in there.
Yeah.
I mean it's happening. I mean these retail stores are just absolutely not making it.
It's tough.
Right.
With the internet.
Right.
And
Amazon.
Well, that's the internet. That's what I mean. So
the Amazon. I'm going to tell you something.
It's what the kids do.
Oh,
can I look at my daughter, who's right in that age group?
Yep.
You want something? You immediately go there. And order it online. I'll get it in a couple of days.
It's just not kids. Do you know how much easier for senior citizens?
Yeah.
The other day I said to my wife, we need such and such. The next morning, it was on my doorstep.
Yep.
You can order something. You'll get it most of the time within 24 hours. Why would you want to, take time? Try to parking's not a problem at these malls anymore because but you have to go and you got to walk around. That the only good thing in a mall is you get the exercise to walk around. But Amazon, it's just amazing to me. You can get anything, and at lower prices and quickly.
And what they always said for people, especially like stores like a Best Buy,
right,
or things like that. People go into Best Buy, they take a look at what they want,
and then
they can touch and feel it,
absolutely,
and then they go home and order it,
absolutely,
from Amazon.
Did you ever? I noticed this a while back. Did you ever notice people in there taking pictures?
No, I haven't.
I've seen it. Yeah, well, it's the same thing as they don't write it down. They take a picture.
This is what I want.
And then they know what they want, and then they. In fact, I was always wondering whether somebody within the store, like in Best Buy, because they do have a lot of sales reps.
Yeah.
Is that a sales rep goes up and said, "You can't take pictures," or they should.
Have you seen that?
No, I have never. I haven't seen a sign. If I was running,
I think it's perfectly fine that you can do that.
Yeah, but I would, if I was running it, I'd put a thing up. You can't take pictures.
I think you get a guy like Bob coming after you if you did that, but from somebody. But stores and we'll use Kohl's as an example.
Yep.
Kohl's wants you to use your phone in order to price check the items.
Oh, okay.
So you can always say that. I'm not taking a picture. I'm price checking.
Yeah, okay.
So
I could.
What do you do? Look over my shoulder?
Yeah, exactly.
Here?
No. I'm just saying that.
All right.
That's, it doesn't help them by taking a picture and then going out and ordering it else. It's like the same thing. You go in, say you took a half an hour with the sales rep.
Yeah.
And then go out and buy it.
Buy it someplace else.
But that's the downside to having these retail operations.
Yep.
They're losing.
So speaking of President Trump, by the way, he's expected to freeze $20 million in funding for Planned Parenthood. I think he said that during
he did
during his campaign.
He's making.
He said he does
everything. Exactly, and he doesn't. You don't stop him on anything. He's like a bull in the china shop. Is the best way to put it.
Funding will be paused as the administration reviews whether Planned Parenthood is in compliance with Trump's orders to end all diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. The freeze is expected as soon as Thursday, the same day hundreds of anti-abortion advocates are planning to rally on Capitol Hill against Planned Parenthood. So, all right.
I'm in favor of that.
Okay. Pop legend Johnny Mathis. You must remember
Johnny
Mathis.
I certainly do.
He's finally retiring.
What?
From touring. He's 89.
And he's still touring?
Well, he was. But it's coming to an end.
I didn't know that. I hear him a number of times. I play on my radio in the car. I have the Sirius and I have an old the 40s and 50s station,
channel,
which I love to listen to. And he's on all the time.
He's still on the road. He's currently on his Voice of Romance tour. On Wednesday, his team announced that on his official Facebook page that Mathis will do his last show May 18th.
Wow.
In Englewood, New Jersey. The announcement
he's
said...
from New York, I think.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
The announcement said, quote, due to Mr. Mathis's age and memory issues, which have accelerated, we are announcing his retirement from touring and live concerts.
At least they're honest about it.
Yep. Johnny Mathis still has 4 more shows before he retires. The next one is April 10th in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
In case you happen to be in that general area.
Yeah.
So,
that's
89.
Hey, a golden voice.
I didn't know he was still touring.
No, I never did.
And we've told this story before. The station ran a trip, and we went down to Mohegan Sun to see Frankie Valli.
Oh, that's an old name.
Who was in the Four Seasons, who was in his late 70s,
right?
Who could still hit the high notes, which was amazing. But he brought out a stool. He goes, I don't dance anymore.
Yeah,
I sit and sing. He goes, these 3 guys, the new Four Seasons, who are in their 20s, they dance.
Right. Look at Tony Bennett.
Well, he passed
I know, but he
right up until he died.
He was over 90, and he was still going.
Yeah.
And they did the same thing where he was always sitting.
Yeah, just come out and sit
down. What's her name, Gaga or whatever?
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga was always with him on near the end.
Yeah.
And so it was a pretty good
combination.
Yeah, it was. It was a good show.
So, in case you were planning on seeing Johnny Mathis.
Boy.
So this happens every now and then. I don't know if you've ever seen it happen, Bill, but the 2 tempers were flaring in the Tennessee State House.
I saw that.
Did you? 2 lawmakers had to be separated Wednesday during a committee meeting on gun legislation.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of gun people, pro-gun people in Tennessee. The hunting in the Smoky Mountains. Democratic Representative Justin Pearson was presenting a bill that would change the state's gun laws when he and Republican Andrew Farmer exchanged words. Pearson, who had been previously expelled from the House, had been absent after his brother committed suicide with a gun late last year. Well, I can see why he's bringing the bill then. Things got heated after Farmer told him, quote, we've been here working while you've been out.
Yeah.
So they got mad. So so shortly after, Pearson charges at the seated Farmer, and the 2 had to be separated. And so it was filming that?
I had that thing in Cumberland.
Really?
One of the councilmen, Mr. Kane.
Come after you?
Went after my finance director.
Wow.
And the sergeant and myself had to jump up and get between them. And I was very surprised. He literally had to walk behind the president of the council's chair over to where they speak. And he was going after him.
Wow.
And, I think tempers quite a bit in many, you don't hear about a lot of it, but it happens, and it's depends the individuals.
Sure.
How your temper is. I know I had a temper when I was the mayor, but that's another story.
I guess this guy in Tennessee thought the other senator or congressman was coming after him after his brother passed away.
Right.
Suicide,
Well, I can see that emotion.
Yeah, I can too.
I'll go along with that.
All right, that'll do it for the show for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Always appreciate it. Our thanks to Bob Lauder, who's be here with us. We hope Sue Tesser McKenzie be with us next week. But, Bill, thanks for pinch hitting today.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
All right, go Red Sox, right?
I'm not commenting.
Stay tuned for Senior Scene. It's next on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.